As we say farewell to 2024, we also greet a new year. So, let's play some bingo. I, like many others, have goals I want to accomplish this year. And for the past few years, my friends and I have been making bingo cards out of our goals, pretty much making a game out of our bucket list, so we're more likely to do it. Usually people make bingo cards out of extremely random things that have even the slightest chances of happening throughout the year. But because this is kind of like a bucket list for us, we have a mix of easier things that we can do and things we want to do that might be on the more difficult side. For example, playing a certain game compared to finishing 15 books. And on a side note to that, I just want to say, as of me writing this script, I am the only one who was able to get a bingo for 2024. There's still a few weeks, but there's a very slim chance that anyone fills any squares. So I'm just going to say it now, I win bingo for 2024, and I am determined to get another bingo for 2025. And win, obviously. Now, I don't want to show everything on my bingo card because there are some things that are personal or only make sense to a select few, so I will only be showing the art-focused squares, or at least the squares that will end up being shown on this channel if and when they happen. Because there are some things that aren't exactly drawing related, but do tie into some other things. I'm going to go down the list from what I think is going to be the easiest or most likely to happen to the most difficult or least likely to happen. And starting off strong, we have flesh out my stories. This one, in my mind, is definitely one of, if not the easiest, because any progression in story would be considered fleshing it out. At least, to me. I could get more specific in my definition of fleshing out my stories, but unfortunately a bingo square is only so big. Shucks. But in all seriousness, whenever I sit down and actually work on progressing, I usually do get a decent amount of work done. But to be completely honest, my best ideas come when I'm super tired and I'm trying to fall asleep. I just gotta put pen to paper. The next thing on my bingo card is to post consistently. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, posting consistently can be pretty hard, and you would be right. But my idea of consistently posting is pretty lenient. Across all platforms, I plan to try and post at least once or twice a month on YouTube. Be it commentary, personal work, or just school stuff, there will be something at least once a month. My website will also have blog posts whenever I finish art, or will be updated whenever I progress in lower writing. And on Blue Sky, there will be work in progress posts of art and videos, finished stuff, and random yaps I have. So if you're on Blue Sky and would like to follow me, my handle is the same as here, and there will be a link in the description. The next square is to make a character animatic. I have many ideas for this square, but with many ideas comes indecisiveness, which I really struggle with. I have a short and simple idea for my Lucid duo, so that will probably be the one that I start with, but I have other ideas for longer songs with other characters that'll have more emphasis on a story. With school though, this will be a side thought until most likely spring. I've done a few animatics in the past, but they've all been privated now. So I know I can do it, I just have to push myself into doing it. But luckily, I do have another little trick up my sleeve, which brings us to our next square. Do a cover of a song. This is something that I've thought about doing for a long time, but I've never actually got around to doing it. So putting it on my bingo card is kind of an incentive to do it. My big brain idea was to do a cover of a song, then use it for an animatic, then I can cross off two things at once. I already have a few songs on a list to potentially do, it'll just come down to the story I want to portray, and the complexity of the instrumentals or layers if that's the direction I end up going for the cover. The next square is to make prints of my art. This one, by definition, isn't hard, but it's one that's been on my bingo card for the past 3 years now, I think. I did technically complete a box once, but I printed my art off at Walmart, so I don't really want to count that again, and would like to get some decent quality prints of my art. To do this though, I would need to print more than just a couple copies of a single piece to get my money's worth, and on top of that, I'd also like to print a few different pieces. I really just need to get my work together and figure out where I want to print it, how many pieces, and how much it'll cost to get everything printed together. This next one is a fun one, and it's something that my friends and I came up with together. Fandubbing anime. My friends and I have joked about doing this a few times, but obviously nothing came of it. Fun fact, I was almost a part of an abridged version of Inuyasha, but because of some copyright stuff with the original studio, the director decided after casting everyone to cancel the project, which was a bummer. Things happen. But on that note, you should totally try and guess who I was going to voice. Anyways, back to my bingo card. My friends and I watched this horrid anime together, only watching one episode a day because it was all we could take, and it's kind of become a joke within our group. We all agreed that it'd be really funny to do this particular anime, and even better, we all have our own chosen characters to play, so there'll be no arguing. The biggest obstacles for this project would be time, cooperation, and workflow, which we don't collectively have. Moving on, we have take a commission. This one, more than anything, relies on me getting my art out there and reaching any viewers who may be interested. I had this on my bingo card for 2024, but because it didn't happen, and I would really like it to happen, I'm adding it again. I do have a form on my website, but it's currently closed. Eventually this year, I will open it and make a post about it. I just need to figure out some things on my end before that happens. And the last of the bingo squares is to retire. Now, this 100% relies on the stars aligning perfectly. I'm just joking. In all seriousness, this box has the same chances of getting crossed off as me facing through the wall. I just needed one more thing to put on my bingo card, and I was pulling out hair trying to figure out what else to put. So I googled some bucket list ideas, and retire was the first thing I saw. So that's what I added. I'm thinking to make it a little bit more realistic, instead of the box being retire, I'm going to change it to hitting 1,000 subscribers on this channel. It's still going to be arguably the most difficult box to cross off, but it's not completely out of my grasp. So if you found any interest in my bingo squares and would like to help me cross off this last one, I would be truly grateful for the support. When I finally do go back into class, my attention span to work on certain squares will be reduced to work on things I will actually be graded on, so don't expect anything too soon, especially with the more complicated things. I do have some other things planned for this channel that aren't on the bingo card, so you will have to wait to see those. If you end up making a bingo card similar to this, feel free to share it with me. And now, if you've made it this far into the video, I want to thank you so much for watching, and in the comments, let me know your art goals for 2025. As per usual, you can keep up to date here, Blue Sky, or my website, and I'll see you in the next video.